on the show tonight to interview our special guest. Show highlight the Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, boxing, tennis, golf, and racing. The Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show. Tune in for all the news and scores, reporting on the games and so much more. The Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show. The Alford Sports Talk Show.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Alford Sports Talk Show. I'm Alan, and tonight you're in for a special surprise, special treat, because we're going to have a great time tonight. Definitely feel free to chat anytime throughout the broadcast. Just go ahead on any social media platform, click in, and we're going to make sure that you have a great time. That's right. We're going to have a great show. But before we get the show started, let me go ahead and thank one of our outstanding sponsors, Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce. So delicious and addicting, you may need a support group. Make sure you go ahead right there. Right there. There you go. So delicious and addicting, you may need a support group. Feel free to visit Chef G's right there at 301 South 22nd Street, Tampa, Florida. And if you can't come down to Tampa, it's okay. You have a great option here. Go to flbbqsauce.com, flbbqsauce.com. It is some delicious sauce. And the great thing about it is if you hurry right now, you'll have an opportunity to take advantage of this awesome sauce at a great discount. Make sure you let us know what you thought about the sauce. But if you go ahead and click in this special code right here that we're going to share for you, it's called July 4th 25. July 4th 25. Guess what? You will enjoy 25% off. That's right. That's the great thing about the Alford Sports Talk Show. We give you some great ideas and great opportunities. What you do with those opportunities is really on you. So right there, July 4th, 25. Go to flbbqsauce.com, flbbqsauce.com, and guess what? You will go ahead and enjoy 25% off with that great sauce that you see right there on the screen. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and play a great song for you. It's a Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce song by Sam Scola Songs. We're going to let you know a lot about Sam Scola Songs throughout the broadcast. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and play that song, the Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce song. Let's go.
Comes in four varieties. Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce, a natural flavor. Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce, Florida Gold Honey Mustard on burgers and ribs. Tasty fusion on pork and sausage. Classic taste for chicken steak tips. A hot heat wave on meatballs and ham. It's a cookout treat. Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce. Serve on fish and vegetables. Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce. Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce. Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce.
Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce. So delicious and addicting. You may need a support group. Make sure you don't forget to go to 301 South 22nd Street, Tampa, Florida. And if you can't come down to Tampa, it's quite all right. Go to flbbqsauce.com, flbbqsauce.com. Type in code July 4th, 25, July 4th, 25. And guess what? You will enjoy 25% off on your order. And the nice thing is, Chef G ships out quickly. You will get it before the 4th of July. Do not hesitate. Go ahead and take advantage of that savings. July 4th, 25. You cannot go wrong with Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce. So delicious and addicting. You may need a support group. Thank you, Chef G's, for being one of our outstanding sponsors here on the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. Really tremendously appreciate you. Thank you so much. So, yes, take advantage of that sauce. Let us know what you think about it, too, here on the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. So, a lot to unpack, a lot to discuss, a lot of things here are going on. And first, let me start with the UFL Championship. Let me start right there. Wow. What an experience. I would say this is our third year at the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show covering the XFL and the UFL Championship. The XFL, let me back up a little bit, explain that. The 2023, the league was known as the XFL. It was a reboot from Vince McMahon, and then it was actually a reboot before then. So you had a couple of iterations of the XFL. The 2023 is when we first started covering the XFL. The 2023 version is with Danny Garcia, The Rock, as well as Red Bear Capital, and that leadership group. That's where it first started, the three of them. So we started covering them with the new regime, as they would say, new ownership. And I went to the 2023 XFL Championship, was outstanding. The 2024, also outstanding. The 2025 was also outstanding. Now, let me start with the events leading up to the championship. It was first and foremost, we got the ground running. It was the first time that I actually showed up a day before media day, and I was actually able to go ahead and do a couple of interviews right there at one of the community events that the UFL players are going to be at. So we kind of got a jump start. Now, what was told to me was that the players that were at the event was going to be players that was going to be non-active players on a championship roster. So I'm thinking I'm interviewing guys who are actually or injured reserve or inactive, not going to be playing at all in the championship game. That's what the impression that they gave me. So another thing was they had 2 time slots, but the time slots kind of overlapped. So for one time period, they had it with the DC Defenders. The other time period, they had it with the Panthers. The issue with that was I wanted to go to both, but within a 2-hour time frame, they had both of the events going at the same time. So I went to the Panthers one, and I was having a great time and everything. And I have a lot of equipment. It was kind of tough for me to pack up all equipment, drive across town, and go to the other one. So basically, I ended up going to one. I couldn't do both. I kind of wish they had one at a certain time, then a break for an hour, then the other one. But it wasn't meant to be. I did go to the one. I was able to interview running back, Nate McCrary. And at the time, they told me he was inactive. Well, lo and behold, he ended up being active. So I also interviewed Cleo Zundell, who was the place there, the South Side Early Learning Childhood Center. She is the director there, and you have all those interviews up. But I'm interviewing Nate McCrary and thinking he's not going to be playing. Not that I would treat anything differently, but I just felt as if it come to game day, leading into the game day, the press conference that we did the day before, media day, the coach said he would be active. So it was kind of like a surprise. He went from not being active to active, which is really cool. I thought that was a sign that that the Panthers were going to win because he scored the first touchdown of the game. But it did not end out that way at all. Congratulations to the DC Defenders. They end up in smashing fashion, I should say, winning the game. And I thought this was going to be a close game. I thought it was going to come down to 2 or 3 plays. Both teams were were playing outstanding football leading into the championship game. And if you'd have told me the Panthers were going to win before the game started, I wouldn't have disagreed actually because they were that good. But they did not show up for the game. I'm talking about the Panthers. The Panthers just did not come in. They came in underprepared, I would say. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the game, and I'll talk to you more about what happened and some of the thoughts and what have you. The the Panthers didn't show up, and one thing that really surprised me, and I'm glad that you guys are checking into this, is when you're doing something and it's successful, don't change what you're doing that's working. So if you're doing something and you're getting successful results from it, don't change that because that's what's gotten you to that point. So, for example, it came down to I'll even use myself as a personal story. Guess what? What ended up happening was when I went to this event, the first event, one of the persons I'm really cool with in the media, he feels comfortable with me. I'm not mentioning names, but he basically told me that, and at this point, since I got in, yes, I did have my shirt on. This shirt here. I did. I just trying to think. I did have this Allen Alford Sports Talk Show shirt on. And he told me when I was off camera that, he thought, it was a funny shirt. He was the only person who actually, out of hundreds and probably thousands of people who've seen the shirt, he was the only one who actually said something critical about it. He wasn't a fan of it. Okay. That's his opinion. Well, guess what? I had an event I had to go to. This was a few days after this event. And I was deciding, what should I wear? Should I wear one of these shirts or something more bland, more, conventional, traditional, no shirt on myself, regular polo shirt. I usually don't wear polo shirt with logos on it. I do have another polo shirt that does have a small Allen Alford thing on there, but if I was going to wear a polo shirt, it would just be a bland blah shirt. Should I wear that or should I wear this? Guess what? I said to myself, the shirt's working. It has been very positive response for it, overwhelmingly positive response. It has gotten me opportunities to where I'm at. Guess what? The shirt goes just like I go. And I wore the shirt, and people complimented me again on the shirt. So the reason why I bring up this little story is that you can't change what you've been doing that has been successful. What the Panthers were doing that was very successful was the RPOs and the run read options. They were doing it really well, meaning the quarterback would fake to hand it off and run, or actually hand it off and the running back would run. The first half, they there was definitely a clear hesitation to run the football, to do a RPO. The first half, they didn't even try it, which was shocking, which was really surprising because that's what you've been doing and it's been successful. Yes, you want to have a couple of additions in your game when you're playing a championship game, but you also want to stick to what has gotten you there. I felt like that was a potent weapon. they made a decision, being the Panthers, of not running that type of offense. They were having Bryce go back, drop back, and pass, drop back and pass. And there was several opportunities he had to run the ball when there wasn't an option for him to really pass it because guys were covered. He stood back there and either got a sack or moved a little and got a sack. You could clearly tell there was no conscious effort, at least in the first half, clearly to run the ball. And I thought that was a mistake. And they pay dearly for that because one of the advantages you have with running the ball is you do run out the clock a bit. And that I think would have worked to their favor because by giving the DC defenders all of that time to just piling up points, by default, by you running the ball some, you would have eliminated the clock with them running up the score. I'll get into the defensive founders that they had throughout the whole night, but they clearly got away from what was getting them there. A perfect example. If you have worked at a company for 5 years and you shown up 30 minutes early every single day and leave 30 minutes later every single day, and throughout that 5 years, you've gotten 3 promotions and maybe 4 or 5 pay rate increases. So 3 promotions, 2 years, you maybe didn't get a promotion, but you got a pay raise, 5 years of just increase. Year 6, you should not come in work 15 minutes early and 15 minutes late. The 30 minutes has been working for you because that time difference, maybe there's somebody who comes in 17 minutes early, 17 minutes late, or 20 minutes. The fact that you put in 30 minutes separated you. You should not change that. That's where people kind of mess up. They do something that was successful, then they start cutting corners, and it comes back to bite you. It was announced throughout the game that that Bryce was the MVP. And they made it very clear, and they announced it, right before the game too. A lot of people felt this is what a lot of people felt. Consensus was that Jordan deserved the MVP. He didn't get it, and I know that gave him some extra motivation. But if you're Bryce Perkins, and I'm being fair, you have to show people why you got the MVP and why they made the right decision to give you the MVP. You needed to ball out. It seemed as if, which I've noticed this in the last 2 championship games, that maybe there's some discussion behind the scenes of somebody getting elevated to the NFL. So what they do is they play the championship game really not to get hurt, more so than not to win the game. And when you're playing like that, you have all another alternative thought on your mind other than winning. Guess what? You usually don't win. Okay. Because a couple of members of the media did say because Bryce did play so poorly, they probably canceled that opportunity. He probably canceled the opportunity, or they used that platform to give Jordan an opportunity to maybe play in the NFL. That's why if you play in the UFL, you have to consistently ball out. You have to have amnesia. Whether you get the MVP, whether you get snubbed, you have to continue to ball out. And the lack of running showed in the gameplay. Not only that, they got blown all day, all night on long bombs. It was no secret that the DC defenders like to go deep with the ball. In fact, throughout the year, I had even asked Jordan, even when he's playing against the Renegades, that there was a couple of balls that he had long bombs where the guy was open. It just was either he threw the ball to the inside and the receiver was expecting it to the outside. Or one time he was expected to the inside, the ball came a little bit to the outside. So basically, those 2 bombs, he had the pass. He had the guy open. It just they didn't make the connection. If I knew that, and you're the Panthers, you certainly should have known that they were going to throw the ball, or at least attempt to throw the ball deep. And they just did not. They just did not execute. They did not do what you would expect a team knowing that the guys likes to throw deep balls would do, defend against. They were getting beat all night. To me, where the game was really over was right before halftime. The Panthers chipped away. They scored. They had 46 seconds left, and guess what? They let the DC defender score another touchdown. To me, that was really pretty much game over as far as I was concerned. Yes, it wasn't technically over, but how are you going to chip away into a lead where you just did, and now you just let them throw a big bomb and score within 15 seconds? And now they're going to get the ball again at halftime. I just didn't see the DC defenders losing the game at that point, unless they completely tanked. If they played somewhat good the second half, I just felt as if it was just too much for the Panthers to overcome. And they just piled on the points, the DC defenders. And you can't really blame them. It's a championship game. There is, as they say in Karate Kid, no mercy. There was no mercy in the second half because it's a championship game. You just don't want to leave anything to chance. They didn't. And to me, I'll also say this much. It is without a doubt, I would rather win an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, a championship game MVP, and win the game than I would a regular season MVP any day of the week. Because when you win an MVP and a championship game, and you actually that right there tells you more than likely won the game. There was only one time ever the MVP wasn't to a winning player. More than likely you won the game, and on top of it, you balled out to help your team win in the biggest game of the year. That speaks volumes. You showed up and delivered when they needed you the most. And an MVP award, look how quickly people forget when you lose in the championship game. See, that's the thing. I felt as if what another member of the media said is that what Bryce should have done is get the shot in the ankle, tape it up real good, and just roll on out with it and just do the best you can because the game before you did a lot better. I just don't see how you went from a game that you balled out in the next week you just completely don't even try to run with a sore ankle, let's say. It was very surprising. I did not expect a complete annihilation. That's what this was. The DC defenders just wiped the floor with the Panthers. It really was just shocking to see that result. I was thinking that it was going to be 2 or 3 play difference that made the game, but it wasn't. DC defenders, congratulations to them. Congratulations to Coach Shannon Harris, who definitely deserves to have a head coaching position. I hope that the UFL does give him that. I mean, he at least earned that. But I'm not sure how that's going to play itself out. And the great thing is, I love what Shannon Harris is doing. He's already setting things up. If they don't give it to him, he has an opportunity to go with Reggie Barlow to the University of Tennessee and go ahead and be one of the assistants or the coaches there. But we'll see. I definitely think he's earned it. Definitely congratulations to Jordan Tiamu for getting his MVP. He was definitely the best player, not just for the DC Defenders. He was the best player on the field. Period. That day, he was just sensational. He was making short passes, long passes, running the ball. He actually even ran the ball more attempts than Bryce. A really poor performance by the Panthers. They just did not show up for the biggest game of the year. And when you get to the championship game, don't save yourself for an NFL opportunity because you could be playing yourself out of an opportunity if you don't show up for the game. I've seen this last year's game, and I see this even worse this year. You got to keep balling out because there is no such thing as you got it made. And props to all the people that did interviews with me, whether it be through the press conferences or one-on-one interviews. Props to, Daryl Johnston. Daryl the Moose Johnston, because he really answered that question that was wearing on me. I really wanted to ask. I was looking for opportunity to ask. The reason why I didn't ask when there was a 3-0 is because I felt as if I was going to only get a chance to ask one question. I really didn't want to lead with a kind of I wouldn't say super positive type question. So I usually don't like to ask those type of questions initially first. If I had 2 or 3 questions I was guaranteed I would have asked, but not what just one and done. So I was glad I did ask Daryl the Moose Johnston about The Rock and his involvement. I'm pretty sure The Rock saw the interview. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. That's 2 years in a row where you didn't show up to the championship game. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. And on top of it, let me just check right now just to double check. Let's just triple check this. But I'm just going to call it the way I see it here at the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. We don't believe in lies. We don't believe in misleading people. We believe in just telling it the way it is and let it go from there. Let me just see something here. I just want to double check something. Yeah, that's it's not a good look. And I would just say I just double checked it here just to make sure. Tomorrow makes a week. And I know that I've been on a road. I've had a couple of events right after the UFL Championship, but even I had time to go ahead to congratulate the DC Defenders on their win. The Rock hasn't done it yet. Okay, you didn't show up to the game, but you could have at least posted up congratulating the DC Defenders and Jordan Tiamo for winning the MVP. See, that's the thing. Actions speak louder than words. When you don't do things like that, it just shows that how invested are you? Like that's where the fans, the Battlehawk fans particularly, and other fans have said, how invested are you? I get it, you didn't show up, but could at least posted something. Yes, you posted to watch the game, but you didn't post anything after the game. Like, congratulations to the DC Defenders. Congratulations, Jordan Tiamo. Congratulations, Shannon Harris. I, you know, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's I don't know. I kind of feel what some another fan said that I think he's trying to kind of diss himself from the UFL. I kind of got that feeling like he's not quite throwing in a towel yet, so to speak. But I think he's kind of like there's other business ventures that he feels are more important or more lucrative. Definitely doesn't miss opportunity to talk about Trey Mana. Definitely doesn't miss an opportunity to talk about Papa Tui, which you can get at Walmart, which you can get at Target. I got that. And he definitely does not miss the fact about his new movie he's got coming out. So since that's a priority, I'll plug it to. So, yep, the Smashing Machine, Trey Mana, Terramana. Yes, Trey Mana. So there we go. Trey Mana. And I'm not a big time drinker, so I just drink socially. Yes. So, yep. So you got Trey Mana, Papa Tui, both available Walmart and Target there. Yes. And he's got a new documentary series coming out too. Check that out. But yeah, everything but the UFL. That's what I'm saying, man. Everything but the UFL. So I'm just gonna leave it as that. So yes, I definitely hope things turn around. The league could use his help. Like the thing about the championship game, I do think a few things. I definitely do think they need to change the venue at this juncture. As much as I think it's cool that it's an indoor stadium, because just like it rained during the East versus West Classic, which I'm going to talk about. It's always nice when you have an indoor stadium. You don't have to worry about that. That's one thing that's off your concern. Having said that, there is another indoor stadium that the league can use. I just feel as if at this juncture, they need to consider changing the location. You did it 2 years in a row. It's time to change the location, I feel. And on top of it, it would have been nice if they would have had a couple of special guests there. Yes, it may not have been a situation where you may not have had a special guest like a sports person, like they had Tom Brady, they had, Kurt Warner last year. I get it. You may not have somebody like a sports person, but hey, it would have been cool if you had Jack Black come on through. Jack Black is relevant because he has the number one movie. He's doing big things right now. He's very relevant. And that's the thing. I was surprised they didn't have any special guests show up the championship game. That was surprising with the amount of people that Danny, The Rock, I'm sure Daryl Johnston, Russ, they couldn't think of at least one or two people, maybe not even sports related. You can add Jack Black and show up in the game. Kevin Hart would be nice too, but even if you didn't get Kevin Hart, if you had Jack Black come back out to the game, somebody who is recognizable, that would have brought some attention because then people would have been like, if I show up to a championship game or UFL game, somebody might show up. That Minecraft. He's got the number one, Minecraft. So I was surprised that they didn't have that. And yeah, and so that would be my feedback is that maybe you should have a couple of VIP guests show up and to change the venue. When I was leaving the game, some sketchy dude wanted to buy my wagon, which I was using to carry to the car. I was saying, man, I lucked out. It came out here twice. Knock on wood, everything was good. I don't know, man. If you go a third time, I'm not so sure. I pray that I'm wrong. I'm praying, but we will see. I'll just say, I think it's time to change the venue, like where it's at. All due respect, I think it's time to change things up a little bit. But overall, it definitely was a fantastic experience. And I appreciate all the interviews, appreciate that tremendously. It's just an honor to cover it. If anything's critical, I'd say I have to be real. And remember, I have a voice through the fans. I also have a voice through the league as well as the Allen Alford Sports Talk show. So yeah, it was really really awesome time, and appreciate the fact that they did provide us food there. That was awesome as well. And yeah. So I was for me. One great thing is that it was the second year that I was there, so I really didn't do much. I didn't do any sightseeing this time around. I did all of that the first time I was there last year during the championship game, so that saved some time there. And I did have a lot of internet issues where people have basic internet; they don't have much faster than that, which is fine if you're like watching a video, downloading just a small PDF file, surfing the net. That's all fine for that. But if you're uploading files that are video files that are longer than a minute or two, you're going to get hurt. Especially even if you descale the video, you're still going to get hurt. And that's what happened. I was getting hurt. Put up one video, it was taking 2 or 3 hours. It was just sagging all my time. But I put out most of the videos. There's still 2 things I'm going to put out for there. I do have to put on the final DC Defenders press conference, which I'm going to try to get that in. And also, I'm going to put up the pictures as well. And I really want to do a video, like a video computation, as they would say. Yeah, so I got that in the oven, got that cooking. Press conference takeaways, definitely watch a Daryl Johnston interview. I love the Doug Whaley interview. I mispronounced his last name during that interview. I did notice that. I thought she said Doug Whalen. It's Doug Whaley. I apologize about that. His last name is Doug Whaley, the player personnel development for the UFL. Definitely a great, outstanding interview. Check that out. Doug Whaley, I appreciate you. And it really interests why the UFL is so important, why the league needs to stick around. Regardless, I'll say this again, regardless of whether the team that I cover, which is the Renegades, whether they make the championship game or not, you can count on the Allen Alford Sports Talk show being and covering the UFL Championship game. That's right. The reason why I show up to the championship game, even though they did have it available, props to the UFL, they did have the Zoom available pretty much the entire season, throughout the regular season, throughout the conference championships, and the UFL Championship game. They had the Zoom available. But the Allen Alfred Sports Talk Show believes in supporting the UFL. And the more support I can do, the better. I felt me being physically there, I would be able to have more of an impact and do more and get more to you. And that's another way to support the league. So, like the Doug Whaley interview, I would not have gotten an interview had I not show up. That's an interview. The other interview was Nate McCrary. I would not have gotten if I didn't show up. Another interview there was from Cleo Zundell. That's the director right there of the Southside Childhood Health. I would not have gotten an interview had I not show up. And I don't think I would have asked that question that I asked Daryl Johnston on a Zoom, at least not initially. If I had multiple questions, sure, but probably not then and there. I wouldn't have probably felt as if it was appropriate to ask right there. So those are things I would not have had a chance to hang out with D Love Sports, and we did that video there at Salt and Smoke and Salty right there. So yeah, I show up to support the league. That's the reason why I cover the UFL conference and the championship, to support the league. To me, that's what this league needs, more support than anything. That supersedes to me your team affiliation, supporting the league, because the league it's got to survive. It's not, yes, the more years they do it, the more you're going to get less talk, as Russ Brandon said, as far as people asking if you're going to stick around, because you build more trust in that. But still, you need to support the league, because they're still, the way I feel, not out of the water. You know, you want to make sure you support the league. Even if they're coming back, you want them to even more reason to come back. And you don't want to take anything for granted. So if your team doesn't make it, strongly consider going to the championship game. It's very affordable. Have a great time. So, support the league. Support the league. And this is not a business that's been around for over 50 years. Sometimes people get lax. It's only been 15 months. So support the league. That's why I show up. And not to say, of course, if life happens and something of that nature and I couldn't make it, I definitely would do the Zoom. But if I'm able and to do it, I'm going to go ahead and show up to the game. That's the plan. And yeah, so it was awesome time. Let me see if there's anything else. 2026 championship game, I mentioned, should be at another venue. So nothing wrong with the time I had there, but I just think, yeah, it's change things up is a good thing sometimes. So I would vote to have the location changed, respectfully. So props. So we're gonna go ahead and switch and gears and talk some NFL news. I would just say there's a special surprise that I do have, but I'm not gonna talk about that this show. I will talk about it probably next show, and we're working on something really, really big here at the Allen Alfred Sports Talk Show. I don't want to say anything on it just yet. It's in the realm of the NFL, but we will see. Having said that, definitely, I love the fact that guys are getting back into shape and training camp and things of that nature. And one thing I did want to say is this: Shador Sanders really needs to slow down. He got a speeding ticket well over the speed limit 1 week. Then 2 weeks later, he did it again. Yes, I get it. You can afford the ticket, but your insurance rates are going to be up to the roof. They're not already. And it doesn't, you don't need to rush like that. Just leave a little early. Just leave early and you'll get to, that's the way to defeat speeding tickets, folks. Leave 10, 15, 20 minutes early. You don't need to drive 100 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour to go anywhere. You leave early enough, you give yourself enough time, you will make it to your destination on time. Leave 10, give yourself a good 15, 20 minutes early because this way, just in case the traffic jam, just in case you have to get rerouted for a detour, there's no reason for any adult for you to be driving 95 miles an hour to get someplace. Unless it's an emergency, of course. If it's an emergency, that's different. But these were not emergencies. Take your time, leave 15, 20 minutes early, and this way you won't have to worry. You'll make it to your destination on time. This is what I'm referring to with Shador Sanders. Get 2 tickets. Yes, I get it. You can afford it, but no reason getting silly tickets for the fact of getting silly tickets. In fact, I'm gonna say this one thing that's a true story. when when I was going to the championship game, on left hand side, and this was in Georgia. This was the state of Georgia. Georgia, if you go to Georgia, by the way, folks, don't speed at all because you will get caught. They are by far the strictest state when it comes to enforcing the speed limit. So I'm in the middle lane. This guy's in the left lane, and I'm going about. I don't go any faster than 72 in Georgia. I don't get close to 74, 75. I put my 72 on the cruise control and leave it because it's Georgia. I don't even want to be close to speeding. At 72, I was in the middle lane. This guy goes right past me. I said, yo, they're going to get that joker. You better slow down quick. I kid you not. Not even 3 minutes later. I'd say 30 seconds later. This sports car, you couldn't even see it. It was like a short sports car. It wasn't like a full-size Charger or Challenger. Zooms right past me, woof, on the other side, and I'm watching, and lo and behold, it was a straight trooper, and he got him. He got him with the like one of the older cool car Camaros, and yep, he sure enough got him. And I even said, man, that's gonna be an expensive ticket because you were going at least 10 miles over the speed limit because you just went whoop, right past me. Did on the right hand side the cop whoop, and he was cutting through lanes and he pulled him over and he got him. So no reason to speed. Leave 15, 20 minutes early. You don't need to go 90 miles an hour to get anywhere. Unless emergency, but this was not an emergency. Having said that, one thing that is emergency is me bringing on this man right here, the man, the myth, the legend. Hey, how you doing?
All right, Alan, thanks.
You welcome. How you been?
All right. Okay, there we are. Nice to be back.
Yes, praise to be back. That's right. Thank you so much, Lou, for hanging in there. It's been a very busy couple of weeks with the
Yeah.
traveling. For those who don't know, I went to the UFL Championship, which was in St. Louis. I came
Yuck.
back. I had to go right back out. I went to Atlanta, to Atlanta Braves game on Wednesday, which was bobblehead night, which I'm going to talk about a bit later for Usher. And then the very next day was the East versus West Classic in Birmingham, Alabama. So
I
I'm
should put back.
glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. So it was a kind of like, a lot of traveling. And I had a great
Yeah,
time, great
I'm sure.
experience. But sometimes when you're traveling a lot, you're like, man, I can't wait to get home sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
And speaking of that, don't be speeding because that's a true story about the speeder. He went whoop right past me. So, what are your thoughts
Nice.
about Shador Sanders getting those 2 speeding tickets within 2 weeks?
Uh, yeah, young and stupid, of course. You
Yeah,
know,
that's why
we're
I'm
trying
not
to
slaying on
we're
too
trying to
bad.
break. Every young driver wants to try and break the sound barrier. And every time they do, you get caught. It's not worth it.
Yeah,
So that's
that's
key
why I
number.
give him some
That's
grace
key
because
number
he
one.
is young.
Yeah,
He's going through it, so I give him some grace on that. But
yeah.
yeah,
Did your dad teach you anything?
say again.
Didn't your dad teach you anything?
Yeah, like that's what happens when you're young. People sometimes they
Yeah,
do young things. So But I got to give him props. He's hanging in with training camp, and he definitely what's one thing that stood out to me is he's really taking he's taking it seriously the learning process of becoming an NFL quarterback.
Okay, that's what you gotta do.
That's what you got to do. If you want to make it to the NFL, you're not going to make it just on talent alone. You have to
No.
put in the hard work. You have to study. Tom Brady is not the GOAT just because he's got, as we could see, not just because he has
Right.
physical attributes. It's the mindset. He has the great leader's mindset, a GOAT's mindset. You have to be able to put the time in and work hard to be elite quarterback in the league. You have to put a lot of work into it.
Exactly. I said myself on another show yesterday, you can't win by talent alone.
Can't win by talent
Yeah.
alone. You're absolutely
No.
right. No matter what it is, folks, whether it's the NFL quarterback, you're not going to win by talent alone. You could be super gifted in talent, but you got to put the hard work and study time in, and they work hand in hand.
Yes.
Like Ken Griffey Jr., he's an elite talent, but it's not just talent that got him there. It's the work ethic, the learning, knowing what to do, what not to do, what pitches to take, what to look at. These are all things he learned through his dad and other coaches. Same thing with Tiger Woods. Good coaching, but also put in the work. Another person puts in
Yeah.
the work is Lou, man. I see you grinding though. I see you do a show on Friday. Tell us about that. A little small show on Friday.
No, it's not Friday, with this one, but I do other shows throughout the week.
Throughout the week. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I can assure I saw you for a little short period of time on Facebook.
Oh no, that's to promote Saturday's show.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's for tomorrow's show. So I do it a day in advance because you can't do it, like the day of or whatever. Well, I think up until showtime, but I do it a day in advance to get the show going.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And speaking of
Yeah.
that, we did get one prediction a little bit off, and that is the Panthers. The Panthers pulled it out. Talk about the Panthers winning the finals.
Yeah. For the most part, it was a good series though, except for Game 3 and Tuesday Game 6, which turned into a big laugher. You know, I mean, I think we knew the Panthers are. Well, I was hoping the Oilers are going to win, because I thought they were the most hungry team of them all, and with that lineup, with Connor McDavid and whatnot. So I thought maybe the Oilers were going to get a chance and turn the tables after last year. But Florida's got Reinhardt, Bennett. They're just too tough. And of course, you got Bobrovsky in goal. So that triple threat right there. When it got to be like 4-1, 5-1, like okay, that's it. Oilers are not coming back from this. There's no game 7 here. So that was the end of that. So hopes were dashed. But overall, it was a tremendous series. I mean, even better than last year. I think with Game 7, it would have been building to an epic climax, which didn't happen. I mean,
Yeah,
games 4 of the 6 games went to overtime. 4 out of 3. With the first time in like 50 years that happened, and put a very good fight back and forth. Except for Game 3, which was a dud. And Game 6, I just think maybe the Oilers just ran out of gas.
yeah, I agree with you. I really did think that the Florida Panthers, they're resilient. I mean, for the
Too
game
resilient.
one, they jumped on them real early. Edmonton, they could have really kind
They
of
got
shook
resilient
them.
and they got a little bit over celebrated too by winning the cup.
Who the Edmonton?
No, the Panthers.
Okay, yeah, they did. But you
A
know
little
what?
over celebrated.
They did over celebrate, but I know that was a tough victory for them. The
Yeah, I know.
Edmonton Flyers, the Oilers, I'm sorry, they were a very, very good team. They made me think that they had a good shot. In fact, I did predict them to win the series. But Florida, you got to give them credit. Their ability to keep
I
scoring.
think it could win either way, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I thought Edmonton was going to win when I picked it
Yeah.
when the series started. I thought Edmonton was going to pull it out. But once the Panthers went up 3-2, I felt as if they had a very good shot of winning the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the fact that they have won it before the year before, And I know with 3-2, that's going to put a lot of pressure on Edmonton, and it did. And especially when they jumped on that game, you said game 6,
Yeah,
you start, and they did their thing, they did their
they get
thing. Back to back is not easy to do in any sport.
no.
Yeah. So props,
And like I said,
congratulations to the Florida Panthers winning
like I
back to
said,
back.
a little over celebrated after they won the cup.
Yeah, see, with me, I'm okay with the little over celebration after you win. I'm
Yeah,
I'm not okay with you over celebrating during a game.
no, because you shouldn't do that.
Right. Like, okay, I get a little bat flip, but sometimes when you over pip a home run, I don't like it. Especially when it's during the game, and even worse when you're behind in the game.
Yeah,
And the same thing in football. If you over celebrate a touchdown, and let's say you're behind in the game, or you over celebrate a first down, that's just too much.
yeah. There's there's no reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, when the game is over, yeah,
Hey,
you don't
we're
need to
still
over
behind.
celebrate, but
We
I'd
scored. We're still
much rather
behind.
you
We
over
scored.
celebrate when the game's over. You you deserve to celebrate. You know,
Yeah.
there is no, I shouldn't be dictating how much you should celebrate. You put the hard work in, you went to the practices, the training.
No, but what I'm referring to is when they won, they over celebrate on the ice because they damaged the cup.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that. Yep, I almost forgot about that. Yep.
yeah. That's what I meant by over celebrated. That's what I meant.
Yeah, you got to protect the cup.
Yeah.
But nowadays, people don't take care of the hardware like they used to. You see Tom Brady
No.
tossing it around the championship. I mean, they're just, I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess it's just the type of money they get. They don't care. But yeah, but one thing we do care about,
You should.
who do you think is going to win tomorrow, by the way? I mean, not tomorrow, on Sunday night.
OKC.
I got OKC too, but they making me they're making me second guess them a lot this
Yeah, I
series.
know. I thought last night was gonna be the end of it, but Pacers show why they're still in here.
Yeah, and
Alberta was had the magic again. I guess that injury didn't do bar much at all.
they just they know how to come back when their backs against the wall. They love playing in that type of
Yeah, they
atmosphere,
do.
which is not someplace I would like to play in, but they seem to thrive on it. But one person who's coming back is my man Lou. Lou, what do
That's
you
right.
got going on for Saturday night?
All right, we got a plethora of stuff going on tomorrow. We got it's recap, it's championship recap. So let's see. We'll recap the NHL Stanley Cup final. We'll recap the UFL final. We'll also nothing personal, folks. Nothing personal. We'll also recap the U.S. Open Golf Championship, which I almost forgot to mention, which happened on Sunday. That was a doozy. Um, yeah, we'll also take care of some WNBA, of course. The College World Series begins tomorrow. We don't cover a lot of college baseball on the show, but this is a time of year where I'll cover just about anything probably because it is a big event. It's a best of three series, and they got two good teams going at, especially after the ending in Wednesday night's game, which you would not believe. Oh boy! So we'll cover that. Of course, MLB, any NFL news that's coming around, of course, because even as we get close to training camp, there's some news going around there. Gold Cup soccer, because Team USA is in it. They're 2-0. They'll play against Haiti on Sunday, so I'll get predictions on that. I hope, and of course, our regular features with the ridiculous side of the week, which I got a few of them. Sports trivia, this today in sports history, good news of the week, and of course your thoughts and comments are always welcome. Don't forget the number is 512-543-4662, Saturday 4 to 6 p.m. Check us on Facebook Live, of course, and like and share the Facebook page as well, because I can use it.
There you go. Make sure you guys don't forget to check him out. Lou from the Enhanced Sports Show on Facebook. Don't
Facebook
forget to do
Live.
that. Facebook Live. And also call in between 4 and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone tomorrow, 512-543-4662, 512-543-4662. That's Lou from the Enhanced Sports Show. He's got an awesome show there. Really appreciate you, Lou. You're the man.
Thanks. I
You're
really
welcome.
thought it was that. I really thought that India was going to make a game of it last night, but I didn't expect them to blow the Thunder out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't see that either.
unreal.
I'm still sticking with the OKC, but they have really,
Yes.
really made this series very interesting. And I felt as if they would have kind of snipped up a couple things, the series would have been over. So at this
Yeah.
point, anybody can win a game 7. I'm still sticking with OKC, but I would not be surprised or shocked if it went the other way.
Well, we've seen it happen before. Back in, if you remember, 2015 or 2016 rather, Warriors were the favorite. They broke the regular season record, and they still choked in the end by the Cavaliers.
Yep. So it's not over till it's over.
Yeah. Come to think, I think it's the first game of 7 since then, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So, I got to give the Pacers credit. Regardless of what happens, I give the Pacers a lot of
Yeah.
credit. Because to me, when the series started, it was OKC series to lose. The Pacers have hung in there. They
Yeah.
gritted, they grinded, they brought it to a game 7. So, regardless of what happens, major props to the Pacers.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, we'll find out on Sunday what happens here.
We'll find out on Sunday what happens here. That's right.
Yeah.
Definitely. I really appreciate you, Lou. You the man.
And those of you in the Miami area, check out the Panthers Parade tomorrow.
There you go. All right, Lou.
No, I will not be attending. Thank you. Sorry.
Always a pleasure.
All right.
Right.
Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome. Take care of yourself. Good night. Yeah, that's Lou. Make sure you guys don't forget between 4 and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. Lou from the Enhanced Sports Show, 512-543-4662. 512-543-4662. That's Lou. Really appreciate Lou. And he is definitely the man. So we got a lot more to discuss here on the Alford Sports Talk Show. We're going to talk Major League Baseball, give you some insight on that. We're going to talk a bit more about some other topics, but we're going to do a quick little break here. Not going anywhere, just going to do a little quick break, and we're going to finish up with those topics there. Don't go anywhere. So let me play a song here from Sam Scola Song, the sports team song, and I'll be right back. right. Appreciate you guys. Definitely back in the action, back in the gist. Yep, we're back at it. So definitely wanted to go ahead and give major props to Major League Baseball, Rickwood Field, East versus West Classic. Man, that was an awesome time on Juneteenth. Fantastic event, man. You know, this is the second year that the Ellen Alford Sports Talk Show has covered Juneteenth. Second year, I should say, the East versus West Classic. The first time wasn't Juneteenth week, Juneteenth day, just wasn't Juneteenth weekend. But man, it was an outstanding event. First year was in Cooperstown, Doubleday Field. Second year was in Rickwood Field, right there in Birmingham, Alabama. First and foremost, Rickwood Field is a historic place to play a game at for a number of reasons. Number one, it's the oldest ballpark here in the United States. And that ballpark, too, is where it's on hollow ground. It's where a lot of Negro Leaguers used to play. And it's significant because, you know, the Negro Leagues is out of business, been out of business for a long time. Once Jackie Robinson, things segregated, we all know about that story. But yeah, and they had some Negro Leaguers there too. That was awesome. They had outstanding players there. CC Sabathia, who is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I did not get a chance to interview him. I did see where he did do an interview on the field. Then the media scrum came in. It was just too many people, and I didn't want to rush in there and kind of push people. Or not that I push people, but I didn't want to barge in there and try to ask a question. It was just too many people, too chaotic. I said I'll see him during Cooperstown weekend. But props to Roy Wood Jr. He did an outstanding job. He was the EMC. There are a lot more interviews I did do during the MLB East vs. West Classic. I do not want to spoil a surprise. You're going to have to tune in and watch via Facebook at the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show or Instagram. But definitely props to all of the interviewees. That was fantastic. The East vs. West Classic. And it just gets better and better and better. Man, you know, it's just the way they do the event is just something that's just unbelievable. The way that they have the home run derby. I will say Prince Fielder won the home run derby. He went against Andrew Jones. They went to a playoff situation. Whoever hits the first, they had 3 swings each. Whoever won the most out of the 3 swings won the derby. And, you know, uh, Andrew Jones didn't hit any in the last round. And I believe it was the first pitch, the first swing, I should say, that Prince Fielder seen. He hit. It was a home run. Hitting a ball out of that field, Rickwood Field, is not easy. You have to really, really get into one to hit one out of there. It's harder. I even spoke to one of the Negro Leaguers. They said the ball didn't carry as far as it does now. And not only that, the fence was a little bit further back. So it was very difficult to hit a home run unless you really crank one out of there playing in Negro Leagues. And he said you had to be extraordinary good. Not only that, he said even during that time, all they could do was get off the bus, get something to eat, and get back on the bus. That was it. If you didn't do that right away, you were going to be left behind. It was really structured, and even back then, they had to deal with a lot of racism, even having their own Negro League team. So let me repeat that. The Negro Leaguers had to deal with a lot of racism, even having their own league that they were playing with other Negroes on the baseball field. So that's some really tough times. I'm glad that we're not living like that now, but it makes you remember some of the struggles that a generation ahead of us did have to go through. So don't take those things for granted. It inspired me myself personally to keep going forward, keep doing what you're doing, keep being yourself. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Keep going forward, you know. But props and man, such a great experience. Props to, so thank you to the Major League Baseball. Thank you to all the organizers of the event, Rickwood Field, the fans, the players, the EMC, the Negro Leaguers that showed up, the family of the players that showed up too. I got a chance to speak to quite a few of them as well. Man, it was awesome. It was awesome. Awesome. More interviews coming up. So I'm going to try to put up one a day. Today was Roy Wood Jr. We'll see who's going to be there tomorrow. And I'm going to put them up in the order received. So, yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Another thing that was really cool, got to thank the Braves. In fact, let me show you why I'm going to thank the Braves. Let me pull it up. Yep, so I got to thank the Braves. Got myself an Usher. USHERRAYMOND. There you go. I got me an Usher Raven bobblehead from the Braves. This thing right here, tell you right now, this thing was not easy to get. They said the first 15,000 would leave with a bobblehead. Oh, man, I was one of the. I got there early. When I say early, the gates open at 5:30. I was before the gates were there, and I think maybe 10, 15 minutes after I got mine, they were out. They went quick. You know, I checked on eBay. They go for $50 on eBay, and it's the price holding steady because it wasn't easy to get. You know, if you wasn't, there was a lot of people there, and I was surprised that many people showed up early. I guess maybe I just been watching too much of the Rays, but yes, I would think when the gates open at 5:30 for a game that starts at 7:15, there wouldn't have been that many people there. Well, I was wrong. There was a lot of people there that was there when the gates right open at 5:30 for a 7:15 game. And I'm glad I got one. But that was really cool for the Braves to have that promotion. Sure, Raymond did throughout the first pitch. He also did, do some things there on the grounds, prior to the game. I didn't get a chance to participate in any of that because I didn't think it was going to be there that early. So it worked itself out. Got the bobblehead. Very, very grateful for that. Truett Park is really nice. So now I know get there extra, extra early. And they did things a little different. I had a see-through bag for the Rays. Never had an issue bringing it in. Never had an issue with the lenses. Come to the Braves. They let you with a clear bag, but it's only going to be 5 inches by 9, which is basically the size of basically a purse. And I don't use purses, so I didn't have a bag that small. I was clear. And they didn't wanted to charge $20 for locker. I wasn't going to do that, so I walked all the way back to the car, which worked out good because I got my exercise in, and not only that, I walked to the car and back. I had plenty of time to come back and get my seat before the game started, before the first pitch was thrown, before the national anthem was thrown. As long as I get to my seat before they throw out the first pitch and the national anthem, I'm good. Unless, of course, something else special is going on. But as long as I get to my seat before then, I'm good. I don't like to come into a game after even if I don't miss anything, I don't like to come in after missing the first pitch and missing the national anthem. For example, when the Rays were in the Trop, I'm not mentioning the company's name, but the company I was working for, they had somebody who was the honorary first pitch. And the people in management was going to get there early enough to at least watch it and witness it, take pictures. Well, guess what? They did not make it in time. They missed the first pitch. So get there early. Get there early. And that's what happened. So, yeah. So every ballpark is a little different too. Check the requirements that's needed or what you can or can't bring in for the game because they let you with a clear bag, but it had to be a lot smaller. I'm gonna use that same clear bag I've been using for the Rays to the next game because the Rays are cool. They don't see a problem with that. Obviously, the different place they did, but yeah. So yeah, so that's really really cool and props to Major League Baseball. Really really appreciate them. And let me just take a look here. Yes, so major props to Major League Baseball. There are some other events that we got working on in the oven. Definitely, if you haven't heard already, Cooperstown Hall of Fame weekend. Going to be doing that. And that's going to be something I'm looking forward to. So let me just let you guys know that. So look me up for Cooperstown weekend. And yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. Another thing that's fantastic, definitely want to thank songwriter Sam Scola Songs and his wife Mary. Really appreciate their input here on the Allen Alfred Sports Talk show. That's the man right there, Sam Scola. There you go, Sam Scola poster. And the nice thing is, he has a lot of great songs, including the songs you heard throughout the telecast. You can listen to them all right there on YouTube and Spotify. And additionally, he told me he has some new YouTube songs, so check that out. Make sure you go ahead and don't forget to subscribe. And guess what? We give you behind the scenes access, give you some things that you didn't know existed. Guess what? We have an opportunity to go ahead and reach out to Sam directly. Sing along with Sam at gmail.com. Sing along with Sam at gmail.com. This email is for you to give him opportunities, business ventures, songs, sign up to a contract. It is not there to spam him. No spam deals. So sing along with Sam at gmail.com. Really appreciate Sam Scola songs. Again, those songs are available on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you, songwriter Sam Scola songs and his wife Mary. Outstanding, outstanding. Really appreciate them. So yes, it's the East vs. West Classic. Rickwood Field, June 19th. So that was the roster on the west side. Dylan Matances, Mike Cameron, Jose Contreras, Prince Fielder, Scott Harrison Jr., LaTroy Hawkins, Adam Jones, Scott Casimir, Matt Kemp, Jason Kendall, CC Sabathia, Denard Span, Nick Swisher, BJ Upton, Jamel Weeks, Josh East Side, Josh Barfield, Michael Bourne, Dexter Fowler, Curtis Granderson, Jerry Harrison Jr., Ryan Howard, Edwin Jackson, Jeremiah Jeffries, Andrew Jones, Jake Peavy, Xavier Scruggs, Gary Sheffield, D. Strange Gordon, Justin Upton, and Chris Young. It was outstanding, and that's Rickwood Field right there. Very historic. I got some new pictures. I'm going to put some up for you guys. Very historic. Awesome time there. And props to the fans. You know, that's one thing I didn't mention to you guys. I almost forgot. It was delayed by 3 hours because of the rain. It was pushed back. The game was supposed to start at 1. It was pushed back to 2. Well, it ended up getting pushed back only back to 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Yep. 4 o'clock, they did the home run derby, and then they did the game. And I'm glad we got the game in. I didn't mind the delay. I was just worried that we weren't going to get the game in. They did. It was awesome. It was fantastic. Props to everybody that hung around for it. That's fantastic. So yes, props to Major League Baseball. Props to Cooperstown too, the Baseball Hall of Fame. They were actually there too at the event. They showed up. So make sure guys give them their props. Make sure I do that here at the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. And just a quick reminder, yes, we will be covering 2025 event as well. Make sure you guys don't forget to do that too. And I did want to bring to attention something else too. Let me just take a look here. Yes, in fact, let me pull that up here for you guys. Guys are awesome. Yep. Let me see here. Make sure that this gets pulled up for you guys so you can see it. All right. With great honor, I'm going to be covering the Coach's Corner Q&A. This is with Larry Rothschild as well as Dave Magadan. So space is limited June 27th. That's on a Friday. Next Friday, actually, between 6 and 8 p.m. Space is limited. This supports the Tampa Baseball Museum as well as the Ybor City Historical Society, nonprofit organization. Always a pleasure to deal with the Tampa Baseball Museum as well as the Ybor Society, City Historical Society. Props are Minda Mata and her team. But yes, Larry Rothschild was the Devil Rays' first manager ever, two-time World Series champion. Dave Magadan is a Golden Spikes Award, University of Alabama, and he also won a World Series in 2007. So you will get 4 autographs per attendee, 2 for Larry, 2 for Dave. Space is limited. So make sure you get that as well. I'm going to post this up too I'm going to try to post it up on Monday so that more people see it. Yeah, at quick. So from 6 to 8 p.m. Let me see here. Let me see if it gives some more information on it as well. Really props to Tampa Baseball Museum. Love the guys over there. Really do. Really, really tremendously appreciate them. This is the first Coach's Corner as well. So you'll have tickets include an open Q&A session with Larry and Dave, autograph time, light bites, and wine and beer bar. Limit 4 autographs per attendee, 2 for Larry, 2 for Dave. Don't miss this opportunity. Space is limited, and get your tickets while you can. And you're helping out a great cause. You're helping out Tampa Baseball Museum, Ybor Historical Society. You know, that's really awesome. General admission is $35. Member price is $30. So if you're a member of the Ybor City Historical Society, including the Tampa Bay Baseball Museum, you will get yourself a discount of $5. So get those tickets. Let me just take a look here. Yeah, get those tickets. That's fantastic. I gotta make sure Coach's Corner with Larry Rothschild, Dave Magadan. Honored to be there. Honored to be covering this event. That's fantastic. Let me just take a look here. Yes. So make sure you guys get those tickets. And yep, having said that, definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in to another great episode of the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. You know, it's always really, really cool when you're doing such a great thing for you guys, you know, because you guys are my inspiration, and make sure, you know, I feel honored anytime we get a chance to represent and be there at the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. Really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate Lou, Sam School of Songs, Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce, all the fans, all the comments. Really appreciate all the likes, and you guys are fantastic. Really, really can't really put it to words. It's just an honor. It really is humbling an honor. And I will be back here Friday night again, 8:30 p.m. CST time, 9:30 p.m. EST time. I will double check though about Friday night because of the fact that it ends at 8. I shouldn't have an issue, but just in case, I just want to make sure. If worst case scenario, I may have to. We'll see. We'll see. I should make it back by 9:30, but we will see. Having said that, I will still do the show. I might move it back a half an hour just to be safe, but we will see. We'll play it by ear. I will keep you in tuned. But in the meantime, you guys be blessed, be well, take care of yourself, and definitely want to thank our show sponsor, Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce. So delicious and addicting. You may need support group. Make sure you guys don't forget to go ahead and get some delicious sauce right there. So delicious and addicting. You may need support group at 301 South 22nd Street, Tampa, Florida. If you can't come down to Tampa, make sure you don't forget to go ahead and see him at flbbqsauce.com, flbbqsauce.com. And guess what? You go ahead and visit the website. You place your order. You will get it before the 4th of July, and you will get a 25% discount. 25% discount. That's right. Just type in July 4th, 25. July 4th, 25. You'll enjoy 25% off. Can't go wrong with that. Saving money. So visit flbbqsauce.com, flbbqsauce.com. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and play the Sam Scola song of the Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce song. Let's go.
Comes in four varieties, Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce, a natural flavor, Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce, Florida Gold Honey Mustard on burgers and ribs, tasty fusion on pork and sausage, classic taste for chicken steak tips, a hot heat wave on meatballs and ham. It's a cookout treat, Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce. Serve on fish and vegetables, Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce. Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce. Chef G's Florida barbecue sauce.
Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce. So delicious and addicting. You may need a support group. Make sure you don't forget to visit Chef G's right there at 301 South 22nd Street, Tampa, Florida. If you can't come down to Tampa, it's okay. We have a nice thing for you. Visit flbbqsauce.com, flbbqsauce.com. Enter in July 4th, 25. July 4th, 25. Enjoy 25% off your order. And you also will be getting the shipment before the 4th of July. So act quickly. Place your order right now. flbbqsauce.com. flbbqsauce.com. Really appreciate Chef G's. Thank you so much for being an outstanding sponsor here for the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. Tremendously appreciate you. And we appreciate you guys too. Thank you so much for watching another great episode of the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. Same bad time, same bad channel. Next Friday, be back here. 8:30 p.m. EST. I'm sorry, 8:30 p.m. CST, 9:30 p.m. EST. If anything does change because of the event I have coming up on Friday, I will let you know. But in the meantime, make sure you don't forget to get the tickets for just type in Tampa Baseball Museum and you'll see the information right there. Really appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Be blessed. Be well. I'll see you again. Thank you again for all your support. Be blessed. Be well. May God bless you. Take care.
It's the end of the show. Let's thank all the fans before we go. It's the end of the show. The Allen Air Sports Talk Radio Show. Thanking our special guest. Thanking our sponsor. It's the end of the show. Tune in again for next week's show. It's the end of the show. Thanking our host before we go. It's the end of the show. It's the end of the show.